this is Carlos Samaniego with Tax Debt Consultants, and welcome to my Facebook channel, YouTube, and podcast if you happen to be listening to this on podcast. Today I'm going to talk about something that's really important. I call it, don't owe the tax, no problem. And the reason I'm bringing this subject up is I just recently have a client that I'm currently working with right now that came to my office, and the reason he came to my office is that he actually got a letter in the mail, and it said that he owed hundreds of thousands of dollars. The thing is, he didn't really owe hundreds of thousands of dollars. But as of today, the IRS specifically says he owes hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm going to kind of explain how that actually happened. The thing to remember, if you currently have an IRS notice that says that you have hundreds of thousands of dollars that you owe, or tens of thousands of dollars that you owe, and you really don't owe the money, or know somebody in a similar position, this is the video that they need to watch today. So we're going to cover that here in a few minutes. The reason people are getting this liability right now is that the IRS is doing more and more through automation. And when I say they're doing more and more through automation, they're doing automated audits. They're doing automated what's called substitute for returns. For those of you that have not filed a return, the IRS over the previous years will actually file a return for you and basically say, hey, based on the information we have, you owe this tax. So you have these automated audits, substitute for returns, and then you're getting a notice in the mail that says you owe a tax. The bad thing about that is that you may not really owe the tax. That goes back to my client. What had happened with my client is he had gotten an audit notice, called his tax preparer, thinking that he would actually he called him and told him about the audit. His tax preparer says, don't worry about it, it'll be taken care of. And guess what? It was never taken care of. So a few months later, he actually gets a notice in the mail that says, you failed to show up to the audit, so you actually owe this amount. And that amount, as I said earlier, was hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that created what we call is a bad assessment. And when those bad assessments go unchallenged and appeals never gets to hear about it, now you owe the debt. So what are our options? You got nothing to fear here because there are options for you. And here are the options. First option is what we call an audit reconsideration. That's where if there was an audit that happened on you, we can actually have the audit reopened and re-examined. This is really good if you didn't show up to that audit, and when you didn't show up to that audit, you got assessed that balance due. The other option that we have is called offer and compromise to doubt as to liability. Now, what we're doing here is we're not challenging money that you owe. We're challenging the liability that you never actually owed that money. So that is an option. Another option is what we have is a CDP hearing, which is a collection due process hearing, which we can actually bring up some of these issues here. The other options that we do have, we have what's called a refund litigation and the possibility of bankruptcy when it comes down to that bankruptcy debt. Those are some other options that we have to consider. Now, which option that you choose really depends. Now, if we're trying to get back a refund that was due to you, now we're going to look at audit reconsideration or that doubt to liability. If you have the ability to pay, there's obviously the refund litigation that we can do. And did you ever receive a notice of default? If you did not receive a notice of default, we can look at the potential of a CDP hearing. And finally, the other option is bankruptcy. And with the bankruptcy, this is where we actually would recommend a bankruptcy attorney, and we can discuss, if that's a possibility, especially if there's other creditor issues. So if you know anybody or you yourself have gotten a notice from the IRS that says that you owe a debt, don't just assume the debt is a correct debt that you owe the IRS. Never assume anything. Sit down with a tax professional and get that resolved. You can always book an appointment at meetwithcarloses.com or head on over to my website, taxdebtconsultant.com, and we'd be more than happy to help you. Bye-bye for now.